It's ad break time. I am proud to announce that the Beyond Solitaire podcast is sponsored by Central Michigan University's Center for Learning Through Games and Simulations. Their new backer kit project, Art and System, is now live, and it features updated editions of 3 fantastic tabletop RPGs: Liam Burke's Dog Eat Dog, Anna Anthropy's Princess with a Cursed Sword, and Timothy Kleinert's The Mountain Witch. You should absolutely check them out. Also, if you want to help me keep the lights on over here on the podcast, you can support me at patreon.com/BeyondSolitaire. For now, though, let's get on with the show. Hey, gamers, this is Liz Davis from Beyond Solitaire, and this week on the pod, I have a very special guest. This is Rachel Billingsley. She is the Director of Marketing at GMT Games. How you doing, Rachel?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm really looking forward to just playing some more war games this year.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Got to get some more in.
It's never enough.
You have time, you have a few more months. It'll be all right.
Indeed. But the summer is waning, but we got a good fall ahead, I think. So you work at GMT. You are also, it's sort of a family business, I guess, at this point. But my first question for you is just, how did you end up working for the family business? Was this always planned, or did you go into marketing and think you'd work somewhere else, and then you just ended up working close to home?
Well, it wasn't planned. I'll go there. So I've had a few different jobs at GMT. I started out when I was like a teen, because it is a family business, or it started that way. Working in the warehouse, working in the office, doing some different roles there. And then I went to university and wanted to study marketing. Eventually, I started off wanting to study web design, which was definitely a mistake. I'm not good at coding. I found that out. So, it helps me a little bit, actually, in my marketing role now. I have like basic knowledge of HTML and things like that. So it does help a little bit. But all that to say, I studied marketing. I went to school in Nashville. And I wanted to get a job in Nashville. And I was, looking for jobs. And I just wasn't happy there. I think for me, maybe it was the weather, maybe it was just the vibes there. I just was not feeling it, and I wanted to go back home. So I did go back home, and I started working part-time at GMT doing marketing while I was looking for other jobs. And so eventually I got to the point where I was enjoying my work more at GMT than I was when I was going on these interviews, and they were telling me what I would be doing. And a lot of it was like a bunch of clients that you answer to, and I think I just prefer one client, to work in one company doing many different marketing things. So I, over time, just picked up more jobs and more jobs and more jobs. And one day, Gene, who's my dad, he was like, "Hey, you're the director of marketing. Do you know this, right?" Like, he basically just told me. I was like, "Oh, okay, sure." So it's not like, too official of a situation, but that I am doing a lot more now than I used to. And so, yeah, there's just a lot of different things that we do. And that's how I got into it.
Yeah, I mean, your bio said that you worked for GMT for like 5 years before actually taking on that role. So it sounds like a natural transition.
Yeah, just pick up more things over time, and that's how it goes.
All right, so before we circle back to this, I just kind of want to know, like, growing up in a gaming household, what did your gaming life look like as part of the Billingsley family early on? Like, did y'all play a lot together?
Yes.
Or
short answer, yes. We played a lot of like family games. So we did play GMT games too, but we, obviously we're children and couldn't play, I'm trying to think of like Paths of Glory, but we could play Ivanhoe, we could play Battle Line, we could play what was that game called? Like Formula Motor Racing, that kind of thing when we were younger. And so we played those a lot, but we also played family games. I'm trying to think of like the ones that we really liked Settlers of Catan a long time ago. We really liked, what was the name of that game? Oh, we tried to play Dominant Species at the time when we were kids, and we just were like, I can't handle this. This is too stressful. Lots going on. It's a great game, but at the time I was just not ready because I have an older sister and a younger brother who's Luke. And so we all 5 of us would play together, and it was just we finished the game, but my dad did win. Anyway, so we played things like that. I'm trying to think, what else did we play? And we just played like a lot of different games on the weekends, I would say.
Yeah.
And my dad would like buy games, and he'd just be like, "Hey, let's try this out." As you do when you're a real gamer, you just buy a bunch of games, try to play them all. Don't always, but try.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah.
I'm really happy to hear you mention Ivanhoe, because that was actually my first GMT game that I actually spent time playing, because one of my high school teachers had it in his classroom.
Oh, that's cool.
And it was like, if you finished all of your work, you could just play games, and Ivanhoe was like the game for some time.
That's so interesting.
In the classroom. And then I ended up playing it with my students when I taught high school for a long time.
That's a great one to have in a high school classroom for sure.
Oh yeah. Like once they realize just how mean you can be while playing it.
Yes. That's the move. I love Ivanhoe. Great game. We still play it at every GMT weekend if we can, because my grandma really likes it too.
Yeah. I mean, it's a classic. It makes me happy whenever people bring it up, because I feel like it's not a traditional like GMT game. It's kind of a beer and pretzels game.
Right.
But that's its charm.
That's exactly. It's just like a good time. And that's what I enjoy the most personally, games that are a good time. The other one I was thinking was Down in Flames. We would play that at every GMT weekend also. What's the name of it now? Wild Blue Yonder. Yeah, this whole series.
That's
awesome. Like a card game.
So when it comes to being the director of marketing for GMT, obviously you're at least have the blessing of marketing a product that you like.
Yeah, that's true. Fair.
But what does that entail for you? Like exactly how large is GMT's like marketing arm at this point, and how has that changed over the several years that you've been working there?
Okay, so when I started doing marketing, which I would say was like 10 years ago, it was a very different process in some ways. So we didn't have a blog at the time. We didn't have video at the time. We had the P500 page and we had the newsletter and possibly other things I'm forgetting. But that's what I knew about at the time. So at the beginning, what I started with was helping with newsletter items that go in. And I don't know if I should go into like what our newsletter is about, but it's just like our biggest marketing item that we have every month. And I guess the most people read it of all of the things that we do. And so I started out helping with that. I started out helping with like, we call them P500 banners that we use on the pages. So they're like little graphic pieces that just kind of describe what the game's about, little picture, little something. Started out doing that. And then over time, well, let me say this. We started inside GMT because I told my dad he was basically missing out on all of this was mid 2010s. So like everyone had a blog.
Yeah.
And we're like, well, we need a blog. We need to put all this stuff somewhere that people are writing and, wanting to share. So we started that, and that's become a big marketing push also that we use to promote games. Like today, what did I post today? It was an Ermine article, I believe, from Pierre Wagner-Jones. And it was pretty interesting to read for me, but I don't know how many people actually read it, but I enjoy it. But I think it's effective. We have some numbers that would say that it's effective. I'm like losing my train of thought. I'm sorry.
No.
Where am I going with this?
Actually, we'll go back to kind of this. This has led to many questions for me, which is perfect.
Okay, so, great.
What metrics do tell you that marketing is effective for GMT? So it sounds like the newsletter is an obvious hit. Like, do you know when people open those?
We do. So we use MailChimp for our newsletter, and it has an open rate. and it has information that'll tell you who clicks what. Well, I don't know about who, but how many people click certain links that we include and where they go. Now, I'm not 100% sure if we can trace that to actual purchases or not, because the coding is a little bit weird on our website. But we can definitely trace it to, like, you went to this page, you went to this kind of link that we included. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to see what people look at.
Okay, so you have a blog, and if you're publishing Pierre, like, that's good. I like his stuff as well. But you mentioned that video is also now part of your repertoire, and I associate video from GMT with you and Luke. So, are y'all like the originators of regular GMT video casting, or is that just me?
No.
And how to start?
The person who started out our GMT YouTube channel, like managing it, was Joel Toppett. He did a lot of videos that were like kind of playthroughs or overviews of different games, and he ran the YouTube for a very long time. And I would say maybe 18 months or so ago, we decided that we wanted to use the channel more, because it wasn't really to my knowledge, like a planned thing. He just kind of had something and would post it and say, here you go. People really like it. That's good. But we didn't really have a plan for it. And so after many months of being told, hey, you need to add video. Hey, you need to add video. Luke and I finally started GMT Talk, which is our interview series. And who did we do for? I think it was Harold Buchanan. That was interesting. Because he started interviewing us in the middle of the interview, and I thought, this is so Harold. But that was a fun interview, and we've just done, I want to say, like 18 or 19 since then. And it just interesting talking to designers. It's helpful to promote whatever game they're working on, if they are currently working on one, because sometimes it's more about what they've done in the past, their series, things like that. But so that's GMT Talk. And then we started GMT LDR, which is kind of our overview of the newsletter. The opportunity for Luke and I to show how chronically online we are, basically, by our references and, memes and stuff. But it is also technically an overview.
I will confess to occasionally just go ahead and watching GMT LDR. So good.
That's what it's for. That's what it's for.
So, you do these projects with Luke. How's y'all's sibling relationship growing up? Like, were y'all always close? Has this made y'all closer? I'm always just sort of curious. Like, my brother and I, we've had periods of our lives where we're like tighter and then less tight. So
we've been pretty close, I would say, our whole lives. We get along pretty well. He's 4 years younger than me, and he actually lives in Nashville now. And so working together has helped me like keep in contact with him more, because he doesn't live, around here. And it's been fun. We do well. Yeah.
So, okay, GMT releases a lot of titles every year, like hundreds of titles. And so as the marketing director, how do you decide how to give attention to titles that you think are really going to break out? How do you be fair to everybody? Like, how do you make decisions about what to push in a system where so many games are coming out all the time?
So the answer is not perfectly. I try to be fair to everyone in this way. If you contact me about it and say, hey, I want to do this, or I have this, or please post this for me, or whatever, I'm going to do it. And from that standpoint, those who really want their things out there will get their things out there. From another standpoint, some games we view as more of a project than others. So some games are going to make 500 no matter what, because the people who are into it are like really into it and they always pre-order. I'm trying to think of a good example of this. Well, let's say Combat Commander. Okay.
Yeah.
Combat Commander Vietnam pretty much immediately made 500 within like a couple days, because people just love the system and they're always going to order it. But some other games that are like a newer designer or a subject that's not necessarily, East Front World War II or whatever. People love East Front. It might need a little bit more push, more marketing. So one example of this is when we started the Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea Middle East series.
Yeah.
It's a great game, but at the beginning, people were like, what is this? Like, why would I want this type of questions? Like, what? This isn't a war game. What do you mean? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. That's not up to me to decide. But the what's it called? It's not the marketing team. The developer and designer, that's what I'm trying to think of, are very active with posting. They like articles. They like to have me post, photos of them like playtesting and things like that. And they just were constantly like, okay, we're going to keep going. We're going to keep going. And it did make the cut eventually. So to answer your question, I don't really plan specific things based on what I think is like going to go far versus what would I call this? It's a little more chaotic than that at times. And so it's a day by day thing. It's a I guess the answer is it depends on the month.
Mm-hmm.
Every month is different as far as what we're adding to the P500 list, what's made the cut, what hasn't. And we do have a marketing meeting every month between me, my brother, and my dad, kind of talking about games that, hey, this could use some extra this month, or this game is doing really well. How can we keep it doing well? Or, on the other side of things, once a game has been printed and we have, let's say, like 3,000 copies of it, how can we promote this more to sell more of them because we have all this stock? So that actually gets into some other stuff that we're probably going to talk about, like review copies, convention games, things like that. But
Indeed. Yeah. I did want to go that direction. So yeah, actually, this is a very funny but true thing. So the same teacher that I played Ivanhoe with as a child, I'm still in touch with him. I'm actually playing a game with him in August. He's been on this podcast. It's Kirby Whitehead, for those of you who want to look it up. But he's funny because I got a PhD. He did not care. Does not matter to him. I got mentioned in the GMT newsletter once after I'd started my channel, and he made a post about how proud he was of alums from his class and all the cool things that we were doing.
Wow. All this to get a PhD and then just the one.
Oh man. But y'all do mention like, media, people who've done video tutorials, people who've covered GMT games. So like in that sense, the start of my own relationship with GMT, right, is very organic. Like, I covered a game, y'all talked about the coverage, and it was just sort of like and now I do receive some review copies from GMT, and as I'm sure many people do. But how do you start those relationships, and like how do you manage all of us, like from your perspective?
Okay. Short answer, also kind of chaotically. But, the long answer is that a long time ago, when I started in the marketing department, we were looking for content for our blog. And so we reached out to some different creators. I think we reached out to the Player's Aid, the Board Games Chronicle, maybe Cleo's Board Games, and a couple others. And we said, hey, you post a lot of blog posts. Would you be interested in cross-posting on Inside GMT? Some of them were interested, some of them weren't as much, but it started the relationship with them. So some of them we send review copies, some we don't. And because of that, we started thinking, I say we, but I guess you could say I, started thinking over time, like, okay, we really want to promote organic content that people are making. We don't have to do the work to make this. People are excited, why would we not share this with our 30,000, however many people open this newsletter? So if I see something, Twitter or Facebook is emailed to me, things like this, I try to post it on our website. And if I think it's like very interesting and cool, I'll post it on the newsletter as a video. And then another way to get some eyes on content creators was to create the content creator section we have in our newsletter, which I think you're on it like probably every month, but a lot of people are on it. And that is actually quite a bear to keep track of, but we try our best. I whenever I forget people, I get an email and they're like, hey, like, are you okay? Like, what happened? You know, why am I not on this anymore? And I always feel bad, but sometimes it's like, well, you didn't post anything the last month, so I didn't put your stuff. It's not like I'm mad or anything. It's just, it's a space issue on the newsletter. Anyway, all this to say, some people we emailed, the review copies list that I have started with Tony Curtis because he used to run all of that. So some of the people that are on the list have been there since he was running it years and years and years. And they create content or they review things, or maybe they don't, you know, it just depends on the product. I'm trying to think of a good example. Well, I guess the Player's Aid, you could say. They receive quite a few review copies and they make quite a bit of content, but we don't say like, you have to, you know, like you're welcome to, but you don't have to. It's more of a getting our games out there to different people thing. And so it's one way to get the word out, I guess you could say, that we have new games. It's one way to get some stock out of our warehouse. It's, yeah, I don't know. It's like hard to talk about because I don't really think about all the time that it is a strategy, but it is a strategy. If that makes sense. Sometimes when you're in the weeds, you're like, am I really doing anything here? Like, I don't know, but you are, you clearly are. Anyway, so a lot of times people will just send me things. So I'll get people saying, hey, my name is this. I want to review, let's say, Twilight Struggle. We're pretty much always send them a copy because I want to give them a chance. You know, if you want to check it out and you like it, great. If you don't like it, it was one copy of a game, you know, like it's not really for me a big loss if we do that. But if you don't like Twilight Struggle, what are you doing? I'm just joking. But anyway.
I do like Twilight Struggle. I mean, come on, it was number one for a long time.
It was, I mean, it's a great game. I find it very stressful personally, but it is fun.
So, you know, you mentioned the newsletter being kind of one of your biggest marketing arms, although you don't necessarily, you know exact conversion numbers from like reading the newsletter to buying a game. Mm-hmm. How important would you say that relationships with media are? And then, you know, am I correct in my assumption that most of the videos, like other than things like getting Rodney to do a rules video, most of it does not seem to be paid content?
That's right. We have Rodney does one every once in a while, and we also have a relationship with Candace Harris at BGG. So pretty much anything that she's posted is like an in focus or how to play, we have paid for.
Yeah.
But I think every once in a while we have something, but for the most part, it's not paid by us. They'll always say if it is.
Yeah. I guess where I was going with that is that it seems like trying to do it a little bit more organically seems to work just fine as a strategy for GMT.
So far, so good. I mean, if it stops working, then we'll have to rethink. But for now, I like it that way. Personally, I think I want people to get the impression, and this is true, that, you know, we're not trying to lie to anyone. Like, if you don't like the game, you don't like it. If you like it, you like it. And we're not going to hide that, you know, like it's, yeah, it's, I like organic content.
So are there any challenges for marketing that come from the fact that GMT is very specifically about heavy games that are sometimes about heavy subjects? Like in some ways, I think it might be easier, right, to sell games that are cuter or about something cuter than say like some wrangling in historical Europe or like armies murder each other. I mean, that's what I want to do in my game time. But you know, what kind of like extra care goes into the marketing end when you are when that is your product?
So I think it starts with the designer having that care. So in, you know, the past, designers who have had subjects like this have usually been very well researched. They are very, like, how do I say, careful. I guess I would say, and the subjects, when they're tough, as long as you kind of talk about that being tough, and you are correct in your research, and you are, what's the name of it? I'm trying to think of the word. Like, respectful of
Yeah.
the conflict. If it starts with that, that makes my job a lot easier. And so for me, if we're looking at the P500 page, we want to make sure the language we're using is very, again, respectful, but also truthful. You don't want to have someone buy a product they think is one thing and then it's something else. I don't want that. So, and then the graphics we use, we also want to be careful to not have anything like, this is my opinion. I don't know what everyone likes to do, but I don't want like huge gore or like anything really like kind of offensive, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
In a photo on our P500 page, because I don't want to look like we're glorifying, any of this stuff. It's a historical thing, but it's not like a playground for you to. I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but yeah, we're trying to be respectful.
So one thing that's very interesting about this conversation too is, I spend a lot of time talking to, Jason Carr. I've interviewed him several times. I've interviewed Kai. But a lot of times I get the impression that GMT is kind of an artist studio where a lot of what happens is about helping the designer achieve their vision. But the game also has to be something that can be sold. So if there is ever a conflict over, is this a good product versus is this the game I want to make and see in the world? Where does the buck stop, and how do y'all negotiate that if there's a mismatch?
Well, personally, that is above my pay grade. I do not make that decision. If I have opinions, I will share them, but I am not the final decision maker on that. For the most part, we try to, go with the designer's vision. But occasionally, if the designer's vision doesn't get the orders, we can't, we've had games in the past that haven't made it to 500. And that's not the designer's fault. It's just sometimes what they want is not what the customer also wants. And so there are some games that we have given back the rights to for that reason.
Yeah.
And sometimes there have been games where the designer has been willing to, like, let's say, add a solo mode or, do various things to make the game more appealing to customers in a way that's not diminishing their vision. And so that can work out. I'm not thinking of huge changes, but I'm also not really in the development side, so I'm not 100% on what they all do all the time. Jason Carr works hard, and I don't know everything he does, but that's kind of what I know from that perspective.
So this also leads me to wonder. So this is also, I think about GMT as a company is always really interesting for me because I feel like you're a GMT person or you're not, if that makes sense. Like once people are kind of in the system, like buying coin games or whatever, they're going to get another coin game, or at least that's how it's been for me. So how do you, I'll also preface this with, like, I've noticed that in the last few years, GMT has put a lot of effort into art direction, a lot of effort into making sure, for example, that quality solo modes are coming in the box, which I personally, as a solo player, appreciate. I've noticed a lot of attention to rulebook structure and language. That, not that the rulebooks were like bad before, but I feel like there have been a lot of improvements that are kind of appearing, and like partially that's a development thing, but I also think it's partially like an attempt to kind of reach out to a fresh audience. So what are y'all doing to bring in new people to become GMT people, and how do you balance that with like satisfying the customers who know what they're coming back for?
Right. So I think you hit the nail on the head with the types of things we've been doing. The art has been phenomenal, in my opinion. In the last few years, people are So talented. But just the ability to recruit these artists, that's not me obviously, but that's other people at GMT recruiting great artists, managing them, helping them kind of figure out what they're working to do for this game. And the rulebook stuff, I would say, is probably Jason and Kai, very involved in that, and their whole team, and Joe, and all the people. And they are so good and so meticulous and getting better with every game that they come out with, I would say, to make things more clear. Like, what's the name of this game that we just came out with? Well, I mean, Adjusted Robin Hood, I guess, is a good example of this. Like, the rule book, I read it with my mom. My dad didn't help us at all. And we figured out how to play it within like 20 minutes. I am not a huge gamer in that perspective, and neither is my mom. And so it was very cool to be able to just read it all and understand it almost immediately. Like, that is very different from a 90-page rule book with 12 chapters about, just the tiniest rule. And some people love that. And we still have games that do that. Okay. Like, to be fair, we have big rule books, we have big games. I want to please everybody if possible. I know we can't, but we are trying to reach out to kind of the more general audience with some of our games in that way. Better art. I guess I shouldn't say better art. More updated art. Different style art.
Different style.
And clearer rule books. Components that are also beautiful on the page. Yeah. I mean, development is a big part of it.
Yeah. As a marketer, are you trying to push into different venues to try to pair with what the development teams are doing?
Can you clarify on?
Well, I mean, you kind of started down the video path,
right.
which I think is important. But I feel like a lot of marketing is TikTok. It's Instagram.
Oh.
Like, are we ever going to see like GMT social media in that way? Or is it something that y'all thought about and just decided it's not for you? Not right now, anyway.
I think if we were to extend it, would probably be more Instagram content. I think TikTok is not really the move for GMT. It's just not, well, first of all, not that stable anymore. We don't know if it'll stay. But also, it's kind of a younger crowd, and there is some board game content on there, but I would say not enough to justify spending resources on it. And although I love it myself, Instagram is probably the move as far as more kind of short form video or more images. But we usually do like more written stuff on our social media.
So you mentioned a younger crowd on TikTok, and I feel like this also leads into another question I really wanted to ask you, because I kind of feel like, okay, but how old are you?
I'm 33.
Okay, yeah, I'm 39. And I sort of feel like, okay, yes, we are in our 30s, and that's still considered young at a lot of wargaming events.
I just went to Console World. I understand.
and people talk a lot about like the graying of the hobby and like what's going to happen as the hobby continues to gray, with like, of course, the terrible implication that like our friends will leave us. But what does that mean for marketing and wanting to bring in a new generation? And what are you seeing, like, as a marketing person, about whether that's happening?
I would say it is happening. Like, that's not false or anything. There is a graying of the hobby, and we have seen, giants of the hobby pass in the last few years. And I guess it's just important to keep pushing, like keep looking for younger people who can do, like we've done this internally. Kai is younger than previously Tony, who was running. We don't have to talk about this, but yeah, it's Kai is younger, Jason is younger, I'm younger, Luke's younger.
Yeah,
a lot of our developers are younger. It's kind of a trend, younger, and that is helpful logistically, just long term, because some of these guys want to retire And that's fine. Like, you should be able to retire. You shouldn't have to work till you're 80 because you're afraid the company is not going to keep going.
Yeah.
And I think that's great that we're trying to, get some more young talent in there. And designers wise, I would say it's still a good mix. We have some young designers, but we also still have some older designers. And I think that's okay because it's more of a publishing house situation where if you want something, come here. You have resources available to you. If you can't finish a project for whatever reason, it's different than if you're an internal member and you're having a lot of, let's say, health issues,
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how much of that to use, but I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah. But as for I guess that's for sales. If TikTok is a little too young, what's the right age to try to be bringing people into the hobby, and where are they online for you to find and bring in?
I am a believer in Instagram. I'm going to try more to get into that because I feel like that's like the millennial platform. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like it is because all my friends use it.
Yeah, I think there's something to that. Instagram is a very millennial space.
If you're looking for millennial, now the Gen Z crowd and younger, I am not as versed in because I am not one, to be fair. It's work I need to do to get into more what they like. But I think that's what we're going to work on next is doing more Instagram because YouTube, we're kind of starting now. We're getting there. YouTube is a very popular platform as well with the younger crowd, as you know. But
so yeah, do you have future plans for the YouTube channel beyond what you're already doing? I'm always just curious about my own channel gets like a makeover every couple of years.
I think we will. It's right now kind of a time issue. So we do 2 videos per month because that's what we have time to do.
Yeah.
But I think we could be posting more content for sure. I don't have a solid plan yet, but I would like to post more. That's right. And the other thing is sometimes we post things that designers send us on YouTube also. So we've had some, let's see, we had Skies Above Britain. We've had some stuff for Cross Bronx Expressway. We've had some stuff for Solitaire Tack Ups Ortona. Some others. I think Napoleon in Egypt, maybe. So pretty much if someone sends me a video that they want me to post, I'll post it if it's, a good video.
Yeah. Makes sense.
I like managing from that perspective.
Okay. So to pivot from marketing just a bit, I really have to ask. So you mentioned that that Jest of Robin Hood was kind of a relief for you because it was like something you could just pick up and play. It was not a bajillion page rule book. So you have a playtest credit for Mr. President. And I need to know, how was this for you, especially given that your dad designed it?
Oh, it was interesting. I was an early playtester, you could say, on the game. Helped make playtest kits. Played it quite a few times in a lot of different versions. And I think, honestly, I would not play the final version correctly because I played so many different versions. I just don't remember. I'd have to go back and read like the rules to see what the final version was. But I think because the game is so segmented and you could go through the sequence of play, and I guess just because I had hand holding at the beginning, I don't have trouble playing that. I think it's a great game. Very complicated at times. Lots of books to go through, but I'm hoping with the online version, it'll be a bit easier from that standpoint. And so, yeah, I mean, I kind of got into it by default, but I do enjoy it.
That's good. During the testing and feedback phase, so like so this is perhaps tainted by my own perspective on my own life. Like my grandmother attempted to teach me how to play the piano, and it became very obvious very quickly that was not going to work, and it was not an in-house job. So how does giving feedback to your father work? Is he like chill about it? Do you is it pretty unvarnished, or like are you nice?
I'll tell him like, hey, this is fun, or hey, I don't know about this is kind of boring, and be like, well, I really want this in the game. Like, okay, can you do this? And he's like, no. I'm like, can you do this? Oh, okay, maybe, I'm not afraid to like give him my feedback.
That's good. Do you feel like your opinion within the company has come to matter more and be more respected over time? I mean, I'm assuming like if you're just doing, the early gig work, I can see how maybe it wouldn't feel that way. But now as director of marketing, do you feel like you are having more of a say as time goes by?
I think so. Yeah. I think people think my opinion's important because it can't get in anyone else's head, but I do try to contribute more in our internal conversations to what I think about, how many games should we order? Or, what should we do with this? And I don't want to get into too many details, but over time, yes.
I actually was going to ask how you decide how many games you should order.
The answer is it's actually not my decision technically,
fair.
I do give my opinion a little bit. Sometimes it's how much money do we have for this?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's how many pre-orders do we have? There is a formula, I believe, that Kai uses that kind of gives us a general number, and then we'll discuss within 500 to 1,000 of each direction, which one we think, depending on interest and the designers like following, stuff like that.
Got it. All right. So, just given that we've been spending this time talking about games in general, what are some games that you've been playing that you are really enjoying?
Okay, I have one. So last week at Console World Expo, I played this game called SAS Rogue Regiment, and it was really fun. Did not expect to like it because it's very tactical, but I might like tactical now. Like, I don't know. It reminded me a little bit of playing Assassin's Creed, which is a whole other thing. But yeah, SAS Rogue Regiment. It was fun. You had like a team of 4, and you each have your own, I guess, capabilities, and you have your objective that you're trying to reach out, and you just kind of keep going until you've gotten the objective or you're all dead. And I actually enjoyed that, not having really too much of an end to the game. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like games aren't long enough. This is insane to say, but I like the 2 endings being you are dead or you have done the objective, and not like, the turn's over and you just have to like decide based on victory points. It was kind of fun.
All right, I've like actually looked this up, and I'm like putting in the list of things to find for myself for later.
It was funny because we played it once immediately after my dad ordered it on Amazon, and Kai told me she was going to order it too. It's like, okay, we're doing it.
That's awesome. So what do you think the proportion of war games to non-war games that you're playing at this point would be?
I would say like 70% non-war games, maybe 30% war games. And I honestly don't play that many games just day to day personally, because I don't have the space and I'm not like in a gaming group, but I do enjoy it at conventions. I go to my parents' house sometimes and play because they live pretty nearby. But I don't know. I really enjoy playing kind of those political games like, Mr. President. And I've enjoyed playing Czar. That one's coming up from Paul Hellyer. I played that a couple times at conventions, and that was really fun. Just kind of the devious type of games.
Yeah.
Where you get to scheme.
Beautiful. You learn something about someone when you ask for games infrastructure. So that actually leads to one more marketing question though, which is, so conventions, how important are they to kind of GMT's announcements of games, movement of games, and like helping people see what's out there? What conventions do y'all try to participate in? Is that something that you want to expand, or you go where you're at?
So conventions are extremely important for a few different reasons. One being we get to see our customers. I love meeting customers. I think it's great to hear from them what they've been playing, or like play a game with them or see them. That's really fun. And I like talking to designers who I may not have met in person. Same with developers. And GMT tends to use conventions that we've attended also kind of as a development or playtesting opportunity. So at least with the GMT weekend that's here in Central California, we have a lot of designers come and demo their games. I mean, same thing at SDHisCon. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
And what's the other one? Circle DC. Those are the ones I personally went to this year. Circle DC. I just forgot the name of it.
SDHis.
SDHisCon, and then the 2 GMT weekends, because we have 2 per year. Now, there are others that I would like to go to personally, but sometimes money or time can be an issue.
Yeah.
But we have a presence at WBC too. Also, I believe Tony goes, and so does Kai. And there's another one on the East Coast I can't think of the name of that Andy Lewis goes to. It's another one. Forgetting the name right now. So we try to go to a lot of different ones, and it's not always the same GMT people that go.
Yeah.
There are more I would like to go to that I don't, but we have designers go to sometimes. So that's kind of cool to see.
Yeah. I will say that for me, SDHisCon and Circle DC are probably my 2 most important conventions of the year, because that's where I see prototypes and where I demo my own.
Right.
So
that's a good place for that. And this actually reminds me of something I want to do with some of our own conventions, which is, try to get better about scheduling events.
yeah,
I feel like SDHist and Circle DC, and I'm sure lots of other conventions are very good about scheduling. Like, okay, this demo is going to be at this time, on this day, and if you want to join, join. We just don't really do that at our conventions, and I think maybe we should start. It might be helpful. So that's just something I'm going to think about personally in the future.
Nice. And then one of my sort of typical ending questions, but I'm going to make it more complicated for you because you do marketing, is no, I'm kidding. Is where, first of all, just if people want to kind of follow you and what you're up to, where do you like to be found online?
Okay. I have public accounts on Blue Sky and Twitter or whatever, X. Blue Sky is mainly where I answer GMT related stuff. So that would be, what is my account name? Rachel Lenyo, I believe.
Yeah, and I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, cool. And then, yeah, I think that's, where is this? I lost the tab. Oh no. Okay, I'm back.
I'm here.
When you're on StreamYard and you can't find it again, oh, the struggle.
Yes.
Anyway.
I actually always pop a second window, so like StreamYard
that's
is
smart.
its own window.
And then,
but the question I wanted to ask about it was, okay, so you've got like a public account on Blue Sky. How does your role as a marketing person impact your social media presence, which we're willing to talk about, and how much you post? Like, do you see your public account as like an extension of GMT marketing, or is it really just yours? And like, how do you balance all that?
I think for me, I kind of just split different ones to different places. So for example, on Facebook, I only have a Facebook because I post on our GMT group. I probably would not have a Facebook account otherwise, but need it for work. Same thing with Twitter. Blue Sky, I probably use that the most for work-related posts.
Yeah.
But it's still really kind of my account. And then Instagram, it's mostly just pictures of like national parks I've been to. So I don't really put that on my public like GMT stuff. It's more for me, I would say. But it is
fair
public.
enough. Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like you need to be careful about things that you say in a bigger way because you do marketing for a family business?
In some ways, I would say it's important for me to not, when I'm using a company account, do anything that's like a little too personal.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of ways you can make personal posts, like political or whatever. If it's a GMT account, I'm not doing it. If it's one of my own accounts, it's up to me. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I don't feel like I can't, I guess I would say.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And then I guess before I let you go, any last thoughts about, if people are trying to either develop a better relationship with a publisher as a YouTuber, or a designer who's trying to get more information about their game out there? Do you have any tips?
Okay, well, if you're trying to develop a relationship with the publisher, in my experience, just email them. I don't know what every publisher does, but with us, we do receive every email. It's forwarded to me from our office, and I try to answer them all. And so if you are wanting to review something, you can email me. If you want to send me pictures of you playing the game at a convention, I love seeing that. Email me. I would say most publishers are very open to that sort of thing. I don't know about general, but wargame publishers. And a designer, I think also if you're looking to do it with a publisher, for us personally, if you bring it to a convention, it's the best way to get your game seen. But you can also email us.
Good to know.
Good to know.
All right, Rachel, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, like getting to hear a little bit more about what's going on inside GMT.
Yeah, thank you. You got a little picture into my chaotic mind, and lots of stuff going on. I'm excited about the projects we're working on. So it's a fun day every day. Maybe not every day, but it feels that way.
More good than bad is all a person can ask for.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's different every day.
But yes, I will see you at SD HisCon. But until then, again, thank you so much. This is great. And everybody out there, please like, subscribe, comment, and most of all, happy gaming.